darshidam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we have today and tomorrow for the Kriya retreat. So please don't be anxious, you will get your Kriya. So today, I'm till the evening sessions, I'm going to dwell on where do we go? What are we looking for when you do Kriya? Because you should know the map of where you're going before you start doing the exercises of how to get there. Otherwise you might do the exercises and you won't know where you're going. So it's a good idea to have at least a preliminary understanding of where we intend to go. What is the goal that we seek? With Kriya or anything else, any spiritual practice, this Kriya or that Kriya, or any Kriya, or also through other means when people don't practice Kriya, still you should know where you're going. Which direction are you heading? Why are you doing this? Right? It's not to solve your day-to-day problems, for which there are many other ways of doing. So, let me start with the ancient mantra, which is there in the Upanishads. And the mantra is, you might have heard it many times. The mantra is Pūrṇam Ādah Pūrṇam Idam. I'm splitting it. Pūrṇāt Pūrṇamaduchyate Pūrṇasya Pūrṇam Ādah Pūrṇameva Vashishyate. This is the mantra. Which means, to translate the mantra first, it means Pūrṇam Ādah. That which means that source from which this whole universe has manifested itself. Probably in the end we'll go back to that source by itself is Pūrṇa. What do you mean by Pūrṇa? Complete, full, nothing more to fill, by nature spontaneously full. This is the source. But in daily life, in this life, our experience is that we are not full or not complete or not satisfied. We are always dissatisfied, unsatisfied. Trying to bring about a completeness. Now you will not try to bring about a completeness if you don't feel incomplete. So we don't see the Purna, we see the Apurna, that which is not complete in daily life. Now the mantra says Pūrṇam Idam, this is also Purna. So we'll have to bridge the gap. Why does it say so? The fact is, it is human nature to try and grow and become complete and fulfilled. It's built into your system, into your mind, that if you feel, which we all feel mostly, that we are incomplete and that there's something missing. You may have everything, but there may be something missing. Look at life. I know people who have all the wealth in the world, they're not happy, something is missing. Either they don't have a kid, or they have a child which is not normal, or something like that. Or you may have all the wealth in your life, but your marriage is not so happy. Or you have so much wealth that every day you cannot sleep. You don't know when the tax man is knocking at your door. I mean, these are daily life. You have a beautiful car which you can drive fast, but you see the accidents on the road, so you cannot. See, I'm not painting a bleak picture, realities. So seeing this, and then you have everything. Then you see that someone who is your age, or even less than your age, suddenly dies of a heart attack, or something like that. And you wonder, why did I work so hard to do all this? Finally you need to go. These are the aspects of incompleteness that surround us. It's normal. Like my life, for instance, I'm now 70, in November I'll turn 75. Most of my friends of my age, some even less, the wickets have fallen. In our group, there are maybe 3-4 people left. The rest have all gone. This is life. Unfortunately, I don't feel incomplete. I'm just saying that because of something else. So this is life. And having seen this, we wish to become complete. In human life, when we want to become complete, when we want to be full, when we don't want to feel inadequate, what we normally do is to gather things, make more money maybe, but none of this is a guarantee, right? Fact or no? When you're young, it was different. As you grow older, it's different. When you're alone, it was different. When you get married, it's different. Then you have children, and then the children grow up, it's different. So it goes on changing. In the midst of this change, we want the changeless. It's a tall order, you never get it in this world. You try your best, but you never. So, I'm not saying you shouldn't try your best, but be aware that it's not going to work this way. That there is always some gap, some blank, which you cannot close. This is life. Now, the Upanishad says, while the source is Purna, this is also Purna, Pūrṇam Idam. But that's not our daily experience. Our daily experience is different. So what is it that is complete here and as well as there? Upanishad says that is your true essence. The essence of your being, the soul of your being, the heart of the matter is always complete and free. You don't feel it because you look for freedom somewhere else, look for completeness in the outside world, which is an impossibility. If you, on the other hand, turn within and see, you find that in true essence, the inner spark of your being, the pure element of your consciousness is always complete, fulfilled, and does not get affected by sorrow in any way. This is the meaning of saying Pūrṇam Idam. Not that you can in this world become complete in different ways. No. It means if you turn within and look for that completeness, change the direction a bit. Which doesn't mean you have to leave the world and run away anywhere. Where will you go? Wherever you go, you take your mind with you, right? You can't leave your mind behind. And the cause of all the mischief is this mind, both positive and negative. So you can't run anywhere. What will you do in a cave? Nothing can be done. You'll go there, but your mind is also with you, so it's eating you up slowly, not giving you any freedom to sit in solitude. So, apart from the fact that today it's difficult to find a place where you can sit in solitude. no more caves are left anywhere close by at least. Wherever you go, there's something going on. When I was 19 years old, I went to Badri to Vyasa Gufa. Then Vyasa Gufa was just a small cave, okay, nothing around. Today the same Vyasa Gufa walls have been built. There's a big Vyasa's image has been installed. There are pujaris sitting there and doing puja and taking money from whoever goes. And they also might tell you this is where Sriyam sat. So it's gone. You can't find. Maybe in a place like this you may find quietness. It could be any part of the world. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to Badri, that's a different thing altogether, but it's difficult. So, I must tell you something now. This is relevant to the topic, it's a little bit funny, but when I was a young man, staying in the Shivananda ashram and in Rishikesh, so there's a meeting point in the evening near the Ganga. Now it's full of tourists. But those days hardly anybody was there. You could go there and sit on the banks of the Ganga. And there were some seekers who wanted a smoke, for instance. At least a cigarette, I'm not talking about Adah. They used to come there and sit down and have a good time and go back. You're not allowed inside. So there was this young man from my part of the country in India, from Kerala. A very religious looking man. He always had chandan here. Nice guy. So a young man. So one day when I went down, he was kind of cursing everybody. And I said, what happened? So agitated. I said, nothing is here. What is this? So much sound coming from loudspeakers and this and that. Those days. Now forget it. So, and what are they doing in the ashram? I said, then what are you doing there? Oh no. Then he said, I'm going off to Solitude. So I said, okay. So where will you go? He said, I heard there is a cave in Lakshman Jhula, which is walking distance. So I'm going there. I said, okay, good luck. So he went off. For many days, 4-5 days he didn't appear, so I thought maybe this guy is enjoying his solitude. And on the 6th or 7th day when I went, he was back again. I said, hey, what happened? He said, you won't believe this. I went to that cave. It was very nice, 1 or 2 days, quiet. Then I started worrying about food. You know, where to get food? You're sitting alone in a cave and who's going to... Then I was kind of figuring it out. I'll go to that ashram. Once a day, get food and come back. So anyway, I was one day in very good meditation. Then I heard some sound in front, so I opened my eyes. And I thought I was lucky because I thought an ET was standing before me. Extraterrestrial, wearing a mask and there's a tube. And he had some gun-like thing in his hand. I thought ET has come to bless me and take me to the higher worlds. So I did namaskaram. He said, hey, don't do that. So who are you? He said, I've been sent by the municipality to spray for mosquitoes. It's not a joke. This is the situation today. Even in the cave in Lakshman Jhula. So solitude, when required, has to be found inside us. Or go to a quiet place where, like for instance, go down a bit and sit somewhere. Babaji's shrine, there's a grotto, there's a nice place. I'm sure many of you in the US might be having properties which are quite big. One corner you can reserve for your meditation. What I'm saying is if not, make your bedroom into your meditation cave. Well, as long as the wife doesn't object. Or the husband doesn't object. Okay. So, if you can sit like that somewhere and figure out that the completeness and the fullness that you seek, since it can't be found in the outside world, perhaps the Upanishad says so, maybe you can find it inside, and introvert your mind, turn it within. Bear in mind that the mind by nature is quite turbulent. So you must find ways and means to silence it before you can experience the silence within. Now, the techniques and the methods used to silence the mind, these are the practices which are called sadhana. Kriya is also included in this. Kriya is one of the ways of sadhana by which you tame that turbulent mind and make it quiet so that you can rest happily in the essence of your being. When you do that, you will then prove the dictum, Pūrṇam Ādah Pūrṇam Idam. Then you see that from inside, the fullness expands outwards. When you touch it, of course. So, this is the mantra. So, if you want to explain the rest of the mantra, it's very simple. They said, Pūrṇam Ādah Pūrṇam Idam. Pūrṇāt Pūrṇam. This Pūrna, a completeness, they don't want to deny that this is complete. This completeness has come from that completeness. And even though this completeness has come from that, that remains always complete. Not as if it is given a piece and therefore become less. It's always the same. The nearest you can go to this statement is Newton's theory, where matter or energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It remains the same. Now, in the Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, your inner self can neither be created nor destroyed. It is ever existing. So, tune into that. This is the spiritual side, that is the material side, physicist side. Okay. So, this is what we are seeking. So let it rest. We'll look at it from another angle. I like to look at it from the Upanishad point of view simply because the Upanishads are the most ancient teachings on wisdom that are available to us today. It's unfortunate that people cannot read it in the original because the language has disappeared almost. So, the Upanishads are the last part of the Vedas, the end of the Vedas. It's called Vedanta. These were the discussions which were had, or dialogues, between the wise rishis and their intelligent students. I'm adding the word intelligent students because otherwise they wouldn't come to learn the truth. Look, in this life, you can remedy things which are happening. You can do something is not good, so you can. But ultimately, you will find that you are faced with another problem. Freedom from it comes when you touch the core of your being, not before that. You can remedy it. People, the innumerable emails that come to me, they are mostly about how to, I lost my job, please find a job. I'm not a recruiting agency, but in India, if you are a guru, you have to do all these things. My floor is not getting properly washed, so please put my vacuum cleaner in order. No solution. Suppose I do put your vacuum cleaner in order, tomorrow something else will break down. Right? There is no permanent solution. Yes, there is a permanent solution. It's in the core of your being, and everybody is blessed by it. Everyone possesses it. And anyone who has touched it will tell you that it is the most peaceful, tranquil, and blissful state that you can be. And once you touch that, all fear of incompleteness vanishes. Well, you live in this world, so there will be problems, but you know how to sort it out. Or rather, you're not frightened by it. Because you know, ultimately you can fly back like a bird into the essence of your being. Okay. Now, this is from the physical point of view. Now, from the psychological point of view, what is the state in which you feel this completeness, in which your individual mind is no more existing, or rather kept in abeyance, and you figure out that you're actually the essence of consciousness. What is it? What state is it? Okay. Now in these great Upanishadic teachings, intimate discussions between the teacher and the taught, where students went looking for a teacher and sat in the forest hermitages and learned from them. One of the Upanishads is there are many Upanishads, of which 11 are the principal Upanishads. There are many Upanishads. In one of the Upanishads, principal Upanishads, it's called the Mandukya. Now, somebody said, some great sage said once, that if you know the Mandukya, you have understood entire Vedanta, entire essence of Vedanta. And it's the smallest Upanishad available to us. It has only 12 slokas. And the 12 slokas are nothing to do with what you should do or what you should not do, but an exploration into different states of consciousness experienced by us, human beings. It's not an Upanishad that teaches you what to do, but it's an Upanishad that leads you to the different layers of your own consciousness. What are the states of consciousness which we human beings go through? And it is universal because in all the universe we are still the same human beings. Right? Shape, color, characteristic, but we are basically human beings. And what is the important nature of a human being? Self-satisfaction. What is the nature of a more advanced human being? Self-satisfaction without hurting others. Same thing, but in a different way. So anyway, the Mandukya Upanishad tries to define the sound Om. Now, the normal interpretation of the sound Om is that it has 3 syllables, A, U, and Ma, Om, and that A represents creation, beginning of things, simplest of sounds. Even a person who can't speak, even a baby can say A. So that A sound is akshara, indestructible. A. So means A is the beginning of things. Well, A is the first letter of many universal languages. In Sanskrit it is A, it's called A. English it's A. In Arabic it is Alif. In Hebrew it is Alif, which if you would put a small dash at the top becomes A. A is the basic sound. So, beginning, indicating the beginning of everything, beginning of creation. It also indicates the beginning of thought from the calm mind, the first thought. So, A generally is described, Om, as A being for creation, and U. Now what is created has to sustain itself for some time. There are different levels of sustenance, of course, because a mosquito lives for 3 days, we live little more. Although if you carefully look at it psychologically, we think the mosquito lives for 3 days based on our time scale. But for the mosquito, these 3 days are maybe like 100 years, because it does many things during this period. Eats, drinks, reproduces, and dies. We may think it lives for 3 days. Time is very relative, mind you. If what I am talking to you, well, by the watch it may be the same time. But if I'm boring you would say, oh God, this is going on for so long. But if it's interesting, you look at it's over, is it? So, time is largely psychological, even though the watch will show you the same time. Anyway, so what did I say? Sustenance. Sustaining what has been created. And then you close your mouth, Om. So any new word that has to come, you have to open your mouth again. So the Ma represents the end of time, end of creation, end of all action, and then you start again. It's the same with the entire universe. It manifests, sustains, and gets destroyed, and a new thing comes. It's cyclic. So Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwar are the three names given for these. This is the normal, usual explanation for Om. But the Mandukya Upanishad explains it in a different way. It says, the sound is a state of consciousness that is common to all human beings, all living beings, which is the waking state. Yeah, are we awake? You are meditating. So, the waking state is common to all. Go to sleep, then you wake up, and the whole world wakes up before you. And then, there's nothing to explain about the waking state, except that even during the waking state, we have a dream state. It's called daydreaming. It's there, but mostly waking state. It's in the waking state that the five senses experience the whole world. It's the waking state that all data is gathered and the mind processes it. It's an important state, but there's no need to explain what is a waking state. Hopefully we are awake now. It's not too boring. So, the next state, is the svapna, the dream state. Now, when you say dream state, everybody dreams something or the other. When people say, I didn't have any dream tonight, it simply means you have forgotten what you dreamt. Dreams are common to all human beings. And this dream state needs a little closer examination. It's an interesting state, and it's common to all. In the dream state, the waking state does not exist. If I am a trader in my waking state, and in the dream state I am a king, during the dream state I don't realize that I am a trader. I am a king, as long as the dream lasts. The dream goes, no questions now, at the moment. There is a question session which will come, then we can, otherwise it will break the flow. So, in the dream state, it's also called Tejasa, because even though you dream with your eyes closed, it's all lit. The dream is lit up like daylight, so it is Tejasa, self-effulgent. And in this dream state, it's so real when you're dreaming. Well, when you wake up, it's a dream, agreed. But while you're dreaming, while you're immersed in the dream, it's very, very real. In fact, it is so real that if you dreamt of a lion chasing you, even when you wake up, you're probably looking behind to see if the lion is there. And your pulse might still be racing, your heart might be beating, you might be still sweating, because it's so real. We woke up, there is no lion, it's gone. This is an interesting state. This is represented by U. So there was this great sage Janaka, who was the king of Videha. His teacher was Yajñavalkya, the great sage. And he's also famous in the Ramayana as the father of Sita. Now Janaka was a king, but at the same time he was a Rishi. So he was called a Raja Rishi, which means you can be a king and still be a Rishi, but not so easy. Not easy at all. Anyway, he was a rare, let's say, exception. So he was a great Rishi. And one day, he had a long dream, very long dream. He dreamt that he was a beggar. Now in the dream, it was very real. He had no food, his clothes were torn, he was begging for food, nobody was giving him food, and he was suffering. And then he woke up. When he woke up, he was in his palace, in his beautiful king-size bed, and all the paraphernalia connected with that. But he was a wise man, so he got up and he said to himself, what would have happened if my dream continued for a longer period of time? Anyway, it was not under my control. Would I have remained a beggar? But now I am a king. So if that was an illusion, can this also be an illusion? That one day I wake up and say, oh my God, what a long dream, I was a king. Why not? If this can happen there, why can't it happen here? So when his guru, his teacher Yajñavalkya came, he asked him this question, sir, please tell me this. Simple words, am I a king or am I a beggar? That's what I want to know. Because just before you came, I was suffering, I was hungry, I didn't know where to go, and now I'm in the palace, I welcome you. What am I, beggar or king? So then, Yajñavalkya proceeds to explain to him. He says, look my dear friend, please understand, the great rishis also treated their disciples as friends, okay? So there is no need to be afraid of me, for instance. So, he said, when you were dreaming, you were a beggar, no question. Now you are awake, you are a king, no question. But which is real, you cannot say, because both are states of consciousness. Dream is a state and waking is a state. Relative to each other they are illusions, because when one exists the other does not. But if you look at it, they are relative. But please remember that there was someone experiencing both. There was an entity who said, I am a beggar. The same entity, there was no different entity, it was the same Janaka, who said, now I am the king. So there is an experiencer who is experiencing both, the witness of both. We said that witness is the same, the states are relative and therefore not real. If something is real, it has to be real always. It's real now and not real at one time, so it is not so absolutely real, let's say. But the one who experiences it, who witnesses it, exists throughout. I am a beggar, I am a king. Now I have changed. There is a witness, right? So Yajñavalkya explains to him that that witness is the reality, not the states of consciousness which you go through. Reach the witness and you are free of all illusions. Imagine, now suppose we are awake now, suppose. We are awake now. And then I think I am awake, okay? And you say, Am is sitting here and talking and we are listening, and so on and so forth. Now, what if at some point something happens to you and you wake up from this state you are in now and then say, oh my God, what a long dream. Because in the dream the same thing happens, right? When you wake up. Suppose here, now if I tell you now this is a dream, you say, what nonsense. We are sitting, how can it be a dream? You would say the same thing if I taught you in a dream. If I say, oh, this is, come on, can't be. But suppose you wake up, suppose there is a state where you wake up from this. What a long dream. There is no M, there is no me, there is only what? Only consciousness. So, this is where we are moving towards. Okay, there are two more states, okay? Normally we know only one more state, but the Rishis say there are two more. So, okay. Now the other one, which we all commonly experience, is sleep. Deep sleep without dreams. Happens. When you fall asleep for some time, in the beginning there is what you call the REM sleep, rapid eye movement, because you're watching dreams, so the eyes are moving inside. And then after some time it's gone and there is what we call a somnambulistic sleep, maybe lasting for a short while, where there are no dreams at all. Now that is a very interesting state too. And it's common to all of us. For all, Kshatriya, Brahmana, Vaishya, everybody is common. Everybody goes to sleep. The factory, the head of the owner of the industry also sleeps. His security guards and workers also sleep. And in sleep they are all equal. In fact, the guy who works hard in the factory may be sleeping better than the boss. Maybe. Sleep is common to all human beings. Scepter and crown must tumble down, and in sleep be equal made. Actually it was different, I changed one word. The actual poem is, scepter and crown must tumble down, in the dust be equal made. I said in the sleep be equal made. Actually true, in sleep it's all equal. Everybody is sleeping. The reason why we need sleep, you know why today the maximum medicine sold in the pharmacy are for people to sleep. You can't sleep because the mind is so agitated, it carries over to the sleep state, so it can't. One is the drug to sleep, which is the maximum selling thing. If you want to start a pharmaceutical company, think of a medicine to sleep. Everybody wants it. The other is for eternal youth, which is a big lie, but it's sold. Anyway, so and the other is to make your hair permanently black. Doesn't work. Temporary, yes. And one more, to grow hair in your body. Oh, that's a big industry. But in my state, where I come from, we have a saying. I don't know how many people know Malayalam here. Say, Kashandikyum Kushumbinum Marinilla. That means there is no medicine for two things. One is baldness, and the other is jealousy. It's a strange thing, this jealousy, very strange. Nothing is happening to me, but somebody is happy and I'm unhappy. It's terrible. If you look at it, it's very illogical, but it happens. Anyway, so, well, it happens among sadhaks. One sadhak is jealous of the other because it looks like he's advancing faster. So where did we start this business? Suśupti. So, did I say suśupti? You said suśupti. Oh, so you know the word. Good. Suśupti is the word used for deep sleep, dreamless deep sleep. Now this deep sleep is interesting. Why we feel rejuvenated when you have deep sleep? The main reason is because you don't know who you are. When you are fast asleep, deep sleep, you don't know who you are, so no one can slight you, no one can blame you. You don't know who, you're not aware of your existence. It's gone. So therefore all the problems associated with existence, physical as well as psychological, have been wiped out, and so you wake up rejuvenated, rested. Right? When you're asleep, who cares if somebody doesn't recognize you? Main problem is that I walk into a crowd, nobody talked, nobody recognized me. It's terrible. For me now it has become the opposite. Oh God, now there are people coming. So anyway, both are same actually. So, so in deep sleep, these are the two factors. One is that you're not aware of your existence, so you don't have any of your problems. And the second factor is that in deep sleep, everybody is equal. You sleep, I sleep, you may be a student, I may, but we are equal in deep sleep. There is no difference between us. And in deep sleep, even the witness doesn't seem to exist. Right? You don't know. You're not aware of your deep sleep. Yes, but when you wake up in the morning, if it was a deep sleep, you feel, that was a blissful sleep. When you wake up. You may also feel it at the point when you are shifting from deep sleep to wakefulness. There's one point, where you don't want to wake up. Why? Because you are so blissful. How many times have you switched off the alarm and gone back to 5 minutes? When my daughter comes to my house, I wake her up at 6 and she'll say, Papa, 5 minutes, and gone again. 5 minutes. Why? Because it's blissful. You're enjoying. Even though at that moment you did not know that you were enjoying. You were not aware of it in deep sleep. There you're enjoying because you're not aware of any of the pains and sorrows. But actual fact is there is a witness who's enjoying. Blissfulness, completeness, blissfulness. And when you wake up, the memory of it is there with you, that I have enjoyed a blissful sleep. Right? This is sleep. Now, if deep sleep is so blissful that the witness is not aware of it at that moment, but apparently there is a witness because you are aware of it when you wake up, that you had a beautiful, blissful sleep. Imagine a state where in deep sleep the witness also exists. Now that cannot be the witness in the dream or the waking state. It must be a witness who is free of all these attachments and this. Right? Who must be a free witness. It's like waking up in deep sleep. Suppose there was a witness when in that blissful deep sleep. Not when you wake up. That time. If there was such a state, that state is called Turiya. If. It's not easy. Why? Because the mind is so distracted, troubled and disconnected by your desires and your failures and your happiness and all these things that come together, that it is not possible to be a witness of deep sleep. When these are discarded, when your mind becomes free of all these agitations, then in deep sleep you wake up and you know what your true essence is. That is called Turiya. But unfortunately, you cannot reach Turiya through deep sleep. Then it would have been very easy. That has to be experienced while you are awake, in the waking consciousness. If this witness is touched during that time, or everything else is gone and there is only that witness, there is nobody to touch anyway, then you know what is Turiya. And this is the only state where there is completeness which you seek in the outside world. Where there is true freedom. There is nowhere to go, nothing to do. In fact, when you touch that, you realize that there are no two, there is only one. The problem begins with two. When there is one, there is no problem. So therefore, the Vedantins call it moksha. The Sankhyans and the Yoga Darshana people call it Kaivalya. Buddhists call it nirvana. That state is after all the essence of your being. This is the teaching of the Mandukya Upanishad. So U is for dream. Where does the Ma sound come for Om? Deep sleep, Om. All over. But then Om doesn't end there, right? You don't say Om. Om. So that Ardhamatra, which you draw with a crescent and a dot, is a continuation of the vibration of Om, which is not material and physical. This is Turiya. So therefore, according to the Mandukya, Om represents the whole of being, the last part representing Turiya, which is what we seek. Whatever we seek, this is what we are indirectly seeking. Why is it that we don't touch it? Because the mind is turbulent, because the mind is agitated, because the mind is always looking for satisfaction outside, and if it doesn't get it, gets very dejected and depressed. So what is the way to touch that? To calm the mind down. In fact, to understand that the mind is a temporary concoction which in its essence, if you look, it doesn't exist. There is only that. The whole of yogic sadhana, including Kriya, is meant to bring this about. Not bring this about, to touch that or to be aware of this. That clear? We have till 10:45? Yeah. So, you put up your hand. Did you put up?
That you're dreaming, like when you're dreaming, is it possible to realize that?
That you're dreaming?
When you're dreaming.
While you're dreaming?
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens naturally. Rarely, but very rarely, you suddenly wake up and in the dream and say, I'm dreaming. But it's very rare.
I'm pretty sure like one night I realized I was dreaming.
What was that?
One night I was sleeping and I realized I was dreaming. So I did the only lot because of like, I'm pretty sure like, I don't remember the dream, but I'm pretty sure it was like a nightmare and I was like, no wait, this is too bad to be real life. So I just pinched myself.
To see if you are dreaming.
When I said dream, I woke up.
Yeah, so you know why? When the mind is still not too much caught up in agitation, like you're young, you're still fresh, then it's possible that you might sometimes wake up and say, I'm dreaming.
It's possible for that to happen too?
It happens for grown-ups very less. Because they get more and more entangled in various affairs. The mind is not so free. So for grown-ups, so we say, make your mind like a child's mind. It's not easy. It doesn't mean you should play with toys. I mean, simple, so that, you know. So yes, possible.
Oh, thank you for answering my question.
He's been coming here for long. Yeah. Slowly he's picking up on it. Nice.
Namaste, Rishi. A little bit confused around Turiya versus the question that Janaka asked his guru between the two states, and where he said, that is not true, this is not true, because somebody else was experiencing it. Could you relate that to Turiya? And how could one be there when he's experiencing? If he's experiencing it, that is not real. So I'm a little bit confused there.
What you're trying to say, I think, is that in the dream state there is a witness. What Janaka said to what Yajñavalkya said to Janaka. In the dream state there is a witness. In the waking state there is a witness, right? We are witnessing now.
So both of them may not be true.
Yeah, no, it's simply that they are not true because in each state the other becomes like a dream, not because of the witness. See, when you are dreaming, the waking state does not exist, right? When you are in the waking state, you think that was a dream. It's not, because it's not existing now. That's what he was trying to explain, the relativity. Therefore he said, if this is real now and the dream is unreal, and when you're dreaming the dream is real and the waking state is unreal because it doesn't exist for you, both states must be only comparatively real, relatively unreal. This is what he meant.
I got that part,
Yeah.
but I'm confused when it relates, the same concept relates to Turiya.
Okay. So, in Turiya, the same concept does not relate. When you say Turiya, it means the witness separated from all witnessing. It's all by itself. There is nothing to witness actually.
The state needs to be experienced, but not necessarily observed.
Yes. It is not something it's also not something to experience. Like in a dream, there is an experiencer and there is an experience. Here, there is only the witness. The witness is not witnessing anything. It's in its own splendor, independently. And therefore, it cannot be moved by anything that's happening, because there is nothing happening as far as the witness is concerned. There is only it. I can say he, but there might be objections. You can say she, so best to say it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Let me introduce him. He is also my old student.
Yes.
When I was teaching in the Ramakrishna Vidyapit in Devgar, which year was that?
76, 77.
7. He was a student.
Yes.
There at that time. Did you learn karate from me? No.
I was too studious, but I watched you teaching karate to others. In fact, all my classmates send their pranams and regards
Oh, good.
to you.
You got in touch with all of them?
Yes,
Nice.
because we had our centenary celebration.
Nice. You went there to
Yes,
them?
yes.
Oh.
So I met
Beautiful
many of them.
beautiful place, the Ramakrishna Vidyapit in Devghar. It's not far from the Devghar temple, Shiva temple. Beautiful place. I spent some years there. In fact, 1 year I was also the examiner.
Yes,
and I had to
they
deal with all these senior boys in the hostel anyway,
they all
tell
remember you fondly, and they send their pranams to you. So let me ask you a question with an apology first. I know all questions are irrelevant, but so if I were to die right now, I won't.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Let me entertain a little bit also. So when my son was like 4 years old, he was sitting in the back of the car and he was crying. So I said, "Why are you crying?" He said, "Daddy, when I die, are you going to help me die?" So
What is that? When
I die, will you help me die?
Okay.
Okay, so the same question to you, when we die, will you help us? No, but the question, that was a rhetorical question. Okay, the question is, whenever I die, assuming I didn't self-realize, I would not really wake up, right? I would be covered by my vrittis, right? Now, Buddhists said that let's not assume that. So I was wondering if you could tell me in very simple words, what's the difference between Buddha's concept of rebirth versus us, the Jivatma?
Now, when you say Buddhism, there are several schools of Buddhism, and each school of Buddhism seems to have its own version of this. Okay. So suppose you say that your karmas are not covering you, and you are free of karmas when you die, then what is it that is being reborn? Right? Then there has to be something that makes you want to come back. So there are some desires unfulfilled, right? So where are they sticking to then, if there is nothing? So this is why the Vedantin discards this theory. So when you die, you don't die. When you leave the body, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
When you leave the body, some people leave the body happily because they have somehow worked it out in their mind and has become firmly established that death is not for the inner being but for the body. So they say, okay, now I'm going. Enough, I've worked, I have enjoyed, I have suffered, now I need to leave, and they leave happily. But most people that's not the case, because they're still unfulfilled. They're attached to something or the other. So to leave that and to go becomes very difficult. Which is why the suffering happens. There's nothing physical, of course, because of disease somebody might suffer. But the soul which wants to go out is suffering because it doesn't want. Look, for example, if I'm told that when you die, you can take your family with you, you can take your car, you can take your house, you can take all the things that you think are dear to you. There is no fear of death. So the fear of death primarily is the fear of leaving behind all that you consider dear to yourself. Right? Now, in the yogi's point of view, from the yogi's point of view, all these are transient things which will go at any point. So when you are leaving, you should leave free, without being attached to any of these things. Now that cannot happen exactly at the point of death if you are the rest of the life thinking of being attached. So from now onwards, one should begin to think about that, so that when death approaches, it has already been fixed in your mind like a habit. You cannot fix it immediately. Now the Buddhists have a great solution for this. There is something called bardo, which is the state when you are leaving your body and still not gone, in between state. During that time, they sit together and chant. And the chanting says, look, there is nothing to fear. You are leaving the body, but there is nothing there for suffering. There are people waiting to welcome you. Come into the other world happily. So this goes on and on, so that the soul listens to it and goes. In the Hindu Shastras also, there are some chants which are done when somebody is dying. What has happened today is that they are chanted after the person has died. It makes no sense, really. If you see the last part of the Ishavasya Upanishad, there are 4 slokas, starting with Hiranmayena Patrena, down, which are chanted when a person is dying. Now it has become after he dies. And even if you chant it while he is dying, unfortunately nobody knows any Sanskrit now. So the poor fellow who is dying might think, what is this going on? Come on, stop it. He doesn't know what is being said. So I'm reminded of, there was a good friend of mine. He died now. He was older than me. Many people in India know him. It's Kushwant Singh. Kushwant Singh was a nice writer. I liked his writing, but he was a good gentleman. He was a very nice person. The only problem was, he couldn't do without his 2 pegs in the evening. And he was a little bit adventurous, that's all. Apart from that, he was a good man. So, he said about his father. Now his father, I'll come back to what you said, but I need to. His father was a builder, a contractor. In fact, he built the India Gate. He was a big contractor, so much so that the British had given him a Sir title. They had knighted him. Sir Shobha Singh was his name. He was a big man. And when he was dying, it is the custom with the Sikhs to call all the Granthis from the Gurudwara. So they would come and chant the Granth, their holy book, Granth Sahib. And he was going into a coma, and then waking up, then again going into a coma, and it was continuing. He was in a coma, and they were chanting the Guru Granth Sahib. Suddenly he came back from the coma. He put his hand out and said, "Whiskey," and fell down dead. What I mean to say is from Khushwant Singh's autobiography. What I meant to say that you will think of that what you have been thinking always. You cannot suddenly change and, Granth Sahib is being chanted, why Guru ki Khalsa? No. He said, "Whiskey," and fell down dead. So therefore, yes, at this moment, sitting here, if you're going to die, I'll certainly lead you across. Don't worry about it. But when you're somewhere else, I'm not so sure. But please keep this in mind always, so that at the last minute one doesn't regret for it.
But you are our guru. You have to show up at something.
It's time. We will come back. After the next session we can. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, that's true.